Okay, everybody, we are back for a long form content video. Thank y'all so much for being here. My name is Matt. I'm with RAR TCG. And today we're going to be talking about shipping, postage, all of that kind of stuff. And I really hope that this adds some value. I know a lot of y'all have been asking me to share more about the business, more about my processes, and how exactly do I ship a card that costs 15 cents and make money on it? Those are all super legitimate questions, and we're gonna dive into it today. So, before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button. We are growing, y'all. We're almost to 400 subscribers, which is crazy to me. I really appreciate every single one of y'all. And don't forget, leave a comment down below. Reach out to me on Instagram. Join the live streams. I definitely love to learn more, get to know you, learn more about what you're up to in the hobby. Are you trying to start your own business? And especially, I would really love it if there's any way that I can help add value, answer questions, and really help support you on your journey. So let's dive into shipping. This is gonna be a shorter video today, and I'm not gonna have slideshows. I'm not gonna have graphs or Excel docs, nothing like that. This is literally just gonna be a stream of consciousness. I'm gonna show you exactly what I do, and I hope that helps you. But here's just an asterisk, right? This is a note. Just remember that my experience is going to be different than yours, depending on where you live, the supplies that you have access to. All of that is going to slightly differ from person to person, and every business is going to maybe have slight tweaks to the type of supplies they use for shipping. It's going to depend on what's best for you. So you can definitely take what I'm doing and learn from it, but don't feel like you have to copy me one for one, because what works for me may not work for you, because the cardboard cutouts I'm using may not be available to you at the price that I get them at, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? So let's dive into it. Number one is, how do you ship cards that cost, how do you ship a 15-cent card and make money on it? It just doesn't make sense, because you have the 12-13% fee at TCG Player, and then you have the 30-cent transaction fee as well tied onto that. So if you look at that, you're like, wait a second. You take 13% away from a 10-cent card, that's over a penny, and then you have a 30-cent fee on top of that. You're in the negative. How can you make money on that? Well, it all comes down to how much you're charging for your shipping, okay? As long as you are charging enough on your shipping to cover the necessary supplies, cover what it needs to do, you can make sure that you are profitable on almost all of your orders. Now, that's why I always recommend that you use a floor price. Because yes, some cards, their market price is 1 to 5 cents, but if you can't make money selling a card at 5 cents, you don't need to be listing cards at 5 cents. So for me personally, I've changed my floor price several times, but right now it's at 15 cents. I actually can push it to 10 cents and still remain profitable, but I was receiving too many orders with my floor price at 10 cents, so I've actually adjusted that to kind of slow down my orders to make sure it's more manageable, because I am seeing an increased number of orders right now. And so just to make sure that I can fulfill orders and have my same 1 to 2 business day turnaround on shipping, I needed to adjust that. And you can do that same thing with your shipping costs. If you need to slow down orders to maybe, I have a 9 to 5, I have a full-time job. I need to focus on that, right? Then there needs to be a lot of my focus on that. And I can't have that taken away by other things, or be stressed out while I'm trying to do my job or spend time with my family. So anyways, you can adjust your floor price. You can adjust your shipping cost. That's what I really wanted to say there. But how do you remain profitable? You make sure that you make sure you know exactly what your supplies cost. You make sure you know exactly what your shipping price needs to be to remain profitable. Now on TCG Player, there is an option to offer free shipping for orders over like 5, or any kind of threshold there, $5. Just be careful before you jump into that you have your pricing structure where it needs to be to remain profitable, okay? Because that means any orders over that $5 mark, you're no longer going to be getting that that shipping amount there. So you need to make sure that everything lines up the way it needs to before you start enabling any kind of options like that. So just a pro tip there, be very careful, because the last thing you want to do is start losing money. Nobody starts a business to lose money, right? Let's get more into the practical side of things. We're already at 5 minutes, so let me show you some of the supplies and material that I use, because I think that'll be really helpful. So when it comes to shipping these bulk cards, really anything under, for me, this is me personally, anything under $25 is going into a plain white envelope. And you can see something behind here. We'll talk about this in a second. So anything under $25 goes in here. Anything over $25, I put into a bubble mailer and I print the postage off with a tracking number and everything there. That's pretty standard. Just remember on TCG Player, if you're selling there, they do require tracking for any orders at or above $50. So if you are trying to really save money and you're shipping more expensive cards, $30, $40 in a plain white envelope, that's not what I do. But just remember that anything over $50, you really need to be adding that tracking number to, as per TCG Player's guidelines. I have found, just so you know, if you're trying to sell bulk, this envelope can hold up to about 32 cards, 32 to 33 cards, which is a lot. But I have had orders for more than 100 cards. So you may be asking, okay, how do you do that? Well, I just prepare 2 envelopes, right? 2 or 3 envelopes in some cases. Because if it's 90 or 30 cards of 15-cent cards, it still may not make sense to then, print a tracking label and all of that, because that's more expensive. Whereas 2 envelopes with the stamps it costs is a way cheaper amount to spend. So don't forget about that option as well. And what I do there is I just print the order, what do they call it? It's like the order paper. I print that twice. I make a little note to the buyer. I say, hey, this is order 1 of 2. You've got another package coming, and all of that, to make sure that the buyer knows and understands what's going on too. I even mark what cards will be in what package as well. So how do I protect cards as they're in the envelopes? And that's where these little cardboard foldouts come into play. I love these things. What I do is I tape cards to the front or to the back. I fold it, and then I tape this within the envelope as well to make sure it's not going to shake around or anything like that. Your postal service will get really upset with you if something's like loose in there. So don't do that. Those guys are awesome, by the way. I know that sometimes the postal service can really question and have a lot of feedback, questions, things like that, concerns. And it could be easy to get frustrated by all the questions, but just know that they want the best for your package, and they want to make sure that their processes are going to be correctly followed. And that's totally understandable. So love the post office. Big shout out to them, even when we are kind of conversing and talking back and forth to make sure that we're all on the same page. So cardboard cutout, I put anywhere between, 8 to 12 cards in one of these, basically, is what I do. And just so you know, the last part of this video, we're going to transition, because I said at the beginning, special note, your business is different than mine, right? The supplies you're buying, what cost you're buying them at, are all going to be different. And so just because I use a certain type of envelope or I use a certain type of cardboard foldout to protect my cards, doesn't mean that that's going to be right for you. But there is one aspect of the business that will 100% be the same between you and me, and that comes down to stamps, okay? So when it comes to stamps, I want to talk about a couple different types of stamps, because I oftentimes see people overlook this in their videos. So I think there's a lot of value. For anybody that's made it 9 minutes, here is the real gold of the video. And if you know anybody else trying to start their own business, you may want to share this with them so that they can be in the loop as well. So here we go. The first type of stamp that I want to talk about is the forever stamp. I'm not going to pick one up because everyone should know this. If you're shipping any type of envelope, this is the standard stamp that gets on your envelope. And it costs between 73, 74 cents, but it's June 2025, right? This cost is about to go up. The other 2 types of stamps I want to talk about are actually extremely important. The first one is the additional ounce stamp. That is right here. Let's see if I get that in focus. Yeah, there it goes. They're the little school buses. I don't know if it's going to be the same for you at your post office, but yeah, these additional ounce stamps are amazing. These are super affordable. So this sheet right here has 20 of them on it. It costs me, what does it cost me? I don't even know. They're super cheap, y'all. I wish I had the cost like memorized. I wish it was on here actually. But you'd be surprised. So your initial stamp costs 73 cents, but these additional ounces, so if your package weighs anything more than 1 ounce, you're supposed to add one of these to it. So if your package weighs 1.5 ounces, you'll need a forever stamp, and you're gonna need 1 additional ounce. If your envelope weighs 2.4 ounces, you're gonna need 2 of these additional ounce stamps. Let me get my thoughts correct, but don't miss out on the additional ounce, because if you are not careful, you could ship a package that weighs too much, and the postal service is going to flag that. It's going to be either sent back to you or sent to your customer, and they're going to charge your customer, or they're going to charge you for that additional postage. And then guess what? This has happened one time to me. And I think it was actually an accident. It doesn't matter, but it's happened once. I had one package return that said I didn't pay enough postage on it. What they did is they held the package. I couldn't even get my package back before I paid the additional couple cents. They gave it back and they said, by the way, you can't ship this same package out. So then I had to pay double in postage just to get that order back in the mail and make sure it made it to its buyer. Do not sleep on these stamps, y'all. They're very important. And lastly, to close out the video, I want to talk about these non-machinable stamps. These are little butterflies right here. Didn't ever focus, that's fine. But these butterfly stamps are more expensive than your standard forever stamp, okay? These are about 40 cents more, maybe, give or take. These are not exact numbers. But these allow you to ship envelopes that are too thick, that can't be run through the postage service. They have a machine that kind of processes all the letters and everything. These envelopes, these stamps can be put on your envelope, and you let the postal service know. And they'll stamp it with a non-machinable stamp. That way they know that they need to manually process these envelopes. This helps keep your cards extremely safe. Again, it will protect you from having to get your package held or anything like that. But more and most importantly, it saves you on money. Because I've seen other videos where they recommend putting 2 forever stamps to cover the postage of a non-machinable package, and that's not financially wise, y'all. Forever stamps are expensive, and putting 2 of them on an envelope that doesn't need it, you're leaving money on the table. So just be very careful. I hope this video was helpful. This was like super in-depth, shipping. We're talking about postage. We're talking about stamps. It's crazy. But yeah, hopefully you like this. Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for my next video. I said it was going to be short. I think my last video was like 18 minutes, so 13 is not bad. Anyways, have a good one. Peace.